Welcome to 20 at 10 with Nat. I am your host, Natalie, and my special guest tonight is Sam Robbins. Describing himself as an old soul singer-songwriter, Sam is a Nashville-based musician whose music evokes the vibes of classic singer-songwriters like James Taylor and Jackson Browne, while adding a modern, upbeat edge to the storyteller, troubadour persona. He's an avid performer, tours extensively, and recently gained some recognition, being one of the 6 winners of the 2021 Kerrville Folk Festival New Folk Competition, which is one of the most prestigious songwriting competitions in the country. He also released his debut album, Finally Feeling Young, this year in May. Please welcome Sam Robbins. Hello. Welcome.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you're currently on tour right now, right?
Yes.
How's it going?
It's good. I am
Are
on
you-
tour. Oh, sorry.
You're about halfway through? Did I read that right?
Yeah. It was sort of in late July. I did a few shows, and then I took a little break because I'm up in New England, where I'm from. So it's also sort of like a vacation.
Nice.
So I took a few days off, and then I'm sort of back in it now. So yeah. I'm
Okay.
about halfway through.
What's been like a highlight so far?
I played on Saturday this amazing place called the Hayloft at Dragonfly Barn is what it's called. And it's this incredible space that they've made in like sort of remote Maine, that these people have made it into this amazing, it's an old barn. They've made it this amazing performance space, this like 100-seat listening room. It was insane. And
Wow.
you drive through like remote Maine to get there. It was amazing.
Wow. And it was pretty well attended, and the sound
Yeah.
was great. And
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it was like, especially because up there, it's like not like anybody knows who I am up there. So it was like people came just to come. You know what I mean?
that's awesome.
And yeah, I think there were like 35-ish people there, which was great, and it was great little listening room space, and it was just like light sound. I don't play piano that well, but there was like a grand piano, and it was crazy.
Whoa.
Rugs, it was insane.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, thanks for taking a short break on your tour to tune in tonight.
Yeah.
You just released your album in May. How was the album release? How's the reception been so far?
It's been good. I mean, it's cool. Like, it's definitely...
This is your debut, right? Debut
Mhm.
full
It was,
length?
yeah, it was the first thing that I've sort of like, because I put out things here and there, like when I was in high school and stuff. But it was my first like big thing that I put out that I was like, and it was cool. I mean, it was stressful kind of getting it out there and being like, it was interesting because I worked with a great PR company, and then I was like, oh, people are actually going to listen to this and like think about it and like review it. You know what I mean? And then like people were reviewing it mostly nicely, you know what I mean? But I didn't realizing that actually people are going to listen to this and actually listen. I was
Having
like,
an opinion about it?
yeah, you know what I mean? Because
You're like,
it's like,
"Ooh."
yeah, when you're
Art is
like when you have these
subjective.
songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially, yeah. One person in like somewhere in Europe absolutely hated it. But everybody else was mostly nice, but it was funny.
Nice. So this was all. Also, Joanna's here and Sean. Hey, thanks for joining us.
What's up?
So, like, so this was your first big project. Do you have any tips for someone who's about to put out their first thing? There's a variety of people who tune into the show, some are musicians, some are new songwriters. Like, what would you have to say? If you could, maybe one thing that you're like, I'm so glad I did this, and maybe one thing you're like, I wish I'd done this differently in the process.
I'm really glad. Oh, hello. Sorry. Hi, Sam Stedman. Love what you're doing. Just a side note. I'm watching. But that sounds weird. I'm
Hi,
watching.
Sam. We're all watching each other. Let's be
We're
real.
watching. Yeah.
Digitally.
Yeah. I think like working with people that outside of me, because for me it's easy to like be a singer-songwriter and I play solo like 99% of the time, and it's like I'll just do everything. You know what I mean? I think
Yes.
like giving away some of the tasks, like even just to my girlfriend, like helping design stuff, like giving away, I mean, you know this, I was giving away some of the tasks was a big thing. Like, definitely, like, necessary to, like,
You gotta
have.
trust people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't want to say, like, I have a team, because I don't really, you know what I mean? But, like I do, though, actually, kind of. I mean,
Nobody actually does anything alone.
yeah, I think that, like, I've tried to do so many things alone, and now, like, I was just like, no, I can't do it alone. So I would recommend, like, even if you have to pay people, to find a way to pay people to do different things that you trust. You know what I mean? Like,
Would you recommend your PR company?
yeah,
Who did you use?
it was Mike Farley PR. They were sick. They were especially for someone who didn't really know how that works. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Cool.
Honestly, they were super cool.
And as I was listening to your album, I was trying to picture how do you think someone should, what's the ideal circumstance for taking in and listening to your album? Like, describe the scene. I have a description in my head of what it should be. I'm just curious if you have one in your head.
I think for this album, honestly, I don't really know. Like, because this album was kind of, like, written and recorded over, like, a very long period of time. Like, I wrote it, some of it while I was at college, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then stretched into COVID, so that's like 2 years, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it was just kind of like just amalgamation of all the best things I had worked on, and I thought that were good. And so when I put it out, I was kind of like, I think these work. I don't know, but, like, just have it. You know what I mean? So I'm honestly not exactly sure.
Okay, well, when I was listening to it, I felt like you should be in one of two situations. One, you should be in a place that's not too hot, that's like a really great temperature. Maybe you're in a hammock and there's a cool breeze and it's like sunset. And that's the ideal time to be listening. And then the other is maybe on a road trip. Seems like a really super chill, vibey road trip album.
Yeah.
And for sure, after the sun is set, so not sun in your eyes, like dusk, and driving kind of into the night. I thought those would be two great times to be listening to this album.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is a great way of. I'll take that answer.
Okay,
over my
feel free to
answer.
steal that if you like.
Yes, I will.
Okay, cool.
Also, I just had a quick realization. This might not be the same Sam Stedman I was thinking it is. Realizing, it may
could
not
be.
be.
Could be.
And so, if you're not, I'm not watching you. I'm sorry. And I realized I was like, you're probably disturbed by me saying that if you're not the musician. But I can't really tell because I can't see the
Only
picture.
Sam
It's just the name.
knows, probably. Or doesn't know.
Sorry if you're
If you
still
don't
watching.
know,
I
then
don't
it's
know.
probably not you.
Are you a musician? I don't know.
Well, you mentioned earlier, you mentioned to me during soundcheck that you went to Berkeley, and I've had lots of people on the show who have also been to Berkeley.
Cool.
What do you think was, I mean, the fact that you mentioned it, I was just like, cool, I'll ask you about it. But what do you think was the most valuable thing that you learned at Berkeley?
I think I learned how this is going to be kind of deep, but sort of learned how to be confident in in like the craziest environment of all time, and like
Okay.
it took a while sort of because especially when you first get to Berkeley, it's just like pure insanity, like just pure unbridled insanity. And so I think like I sort of like stayed my course a little bit, and I'm like, okay, that's a good thing to do. That's something I've learned. Also, in a more like technical musical way, like I learned a lot from this guy Kenny Werner, who's like a jazz piano player who has this whole like it's borderline like a meditation thing about playing that like just really helps you like relax when you're like, especially because when you're at music school, it can get really stressful like playing stuff like because you're being constantly sort of watched.
Watch.
And
It's the theme of the night.
watched, yes,
Being
just like
watched.
me with Sam Stedman creeping this guy out. Absolutely.
Joanna said, "Who's watching who?"
Who's watching who? Oh my God. Well, Sam watching me. Who knows? But yeah, like I don't know. I would say that was a cool thing. He has a book that really helped me out called Effortless Mastery, and it was just it's mostly sort of jazzy stuff, but I don't know. That was
Who's
nice.
the author?
Kenny Werner.
K-N-N-Y?
Uh-huh. And I went to
W-E-R-N.
his classes and stuff, and he was really cool.
Okay.
It was just a really interesting thing.
Awesome. Well, I mentioned earlier that in your bio that you were one of the Kerrville New Folk winners this year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How was this was a digital year, right? How was your New Folk
Yes.
experience?
It was cool. I mean, it was digital, which is kind of strange, but I mean, it was really cool. We had little song circles, which we should do again. Now that I'm saying that, because we sort of stopped. We should do that again.
That would be
But
cool.
yeah, we had like all these little song circles that were just kind of like Zoom things that we all just got on,
Oh.
and it was awesome, and definitely like kicked my ass in gear, kind of writing wise, because I played some songs that were like unfinished, and meanwhile these are like the greatest songwriters I've ever heard, and they're just like Jesus Christ, they were like just amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, that was cool. That was shocking to me that I won, like actually legitimately shocking. But cool, I mean, it was great. It seems like a really cool community. I obviously I haven't really dove
Have you
into
been
it
before?
yet. No.
And what would you tell other aspiring songwriters? Like, is this one of the first contests you've entered, or do you enter a lot of contests? What would you tell aspiring songwriters who want to enter contests about your experience, or tips or encouragement? I don't know.
I used to do a lot of contests like when I was younger, and I haven't in a long time until this one. I would say just kind of do your thing specifically. Like, I think one of the things that I generally am trying to get more into the mindset of, there's this guy David Wilcox, who's this amazing singer-songwriter, and he had this interview where he was talking about, he was like, the music I think that I like the most, that sort of impacts me, is when it's not like a genre. You know what I mean? When you're not like hearing a genre, you're hearing just like a heart transplant.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of interesting, because rather than sort of like using a genre as a vehicle, which isn't bad, but I don't know. I would say just kind of like, my songs could edge, like the songs that I did Kerrville, well, one of the songs that I'll play later that I won Kerrville with, like, could kind of edge on folk, and depending on the production, you could produce it into kind of not a folk thing.
Right.
And like, I thought that would be really weird to play for Kerrville, but apparently they liked it, so just do your thing, I guess, kind of. Not that I have any great wisdom to impart.
No, but I think that's helpful for people to hear. And that was one of the first, I kind of when this was like 5 or 6 years ago, I like tracked down this person who, in my opinion, had won all of the contests. And I just reached out to him and sent an email, and I was like, I'm applying for these contests and stuff. Do you have any tips? Do you have any? I just was curious, like, there have been seasons in my life where I've given a lot of energy to contests, or like more importance maybe than I should have, and I've let them in my head be a part of my identity more than they should be. But me reaching out to this person and him giving me the time of day and like really kindly answering my questions was like my first kind of dipping my toes into the music community in Austin. Like, through him, I started getting more involved in meeting other people, and that was really the better thing for me to be doing than trying to like pursue all these contests. But I still think contests are important, and they can be super beneficial and helpful to people, like if you win them. But also, even if you're like one of the finalists or semi-finalists, like you end up meeting all these cool songwriters, right? Do you have any like new friendships from that competition, that from just being in the competition.
Yeah, yeah, certainly.
It's kind of like speed dating for artists. You like have to listen to the other person's songs, like 2 or 3 songs or whatever, and you're like, actually,
Yeah,
that's really cool.
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, see, we haven't met actually. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like me
That's
and any of the
true.
people. So like, yes, like we've talked and stuff, and definitely like connected now. I feel like it's like I'd like to like meet up with them and stuff, but it's funny because we haven't actually met in person, which is kind of a bummer that we're not going to be able to meet in person. Like, you know what I mean? Because normally you go and do the thing, and then if they
Right.
announce the winners, which is like, kind of sucks that we can't meet.
Are you
But
going to Kerrville this, when is it, October?
yes,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Cool,
Are you
cool.
going to be there?
I'm planning to be there maybe one of the weekends. I'll get with you offline and see if it's the same time that you'll be there. Are you going the whole time?
I'm going for like probably 4 or 5 days.
Okay, cool.
I'm
Cool.
I'm nervous, honestly. I haven't really been to a festival like that, and I'm just really interested to see what it's like.
Cool. Okay, well, I hope it's like really great and blows your mind.
I'm expecting some pretty crazy things, so yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of contests, you told me you also tried out for The Voice a while back, and you made it. Well, your audition made it to TV, but tell me about your experience on The Voice, and like mostly what did you take away from that? Like, how has that built you as an artist?
Um, it was so fun. Like honestly, like I wish I had given less importance to it, like you were saying, like with contests and stuff. Like I wish I had given less importance to it because I don't think it necessarily really does like that much for like your career. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it was just so cool. Like it was so fun. Like yeah, so I did the whole audition process and then I I auditioned for them on TV and or for that round of it and nobody turned around for me, tragic. And then I they put it on TV anyways, so I was one of the TV losers. Um, but it was just like so fun. It was just so fun, honestly. Like it just makeup and wardrobe and everything. I think like I don't know what I've like really it helped to sort of like solidify things for me, I think a little bit.
In
Like
what way?
I was like, okay, how do I want to like present myself like on TV? And so it made me think like, okay, what because like this like singer-songwriter stuff like sometimes I mean maybe you don't have this issue maybe, but it can sometimes get like genre-wise a little confusing. I was just talking about genre, but like I don't know, like just thinking about like who am I as an artist? Like how do I want to present myself? I hadn't really thought about that as much. And it was like, okay, now I actually need to think about this to be successful in this show. So like I have to pick something kind of. So I was like, okay,
Right.
like what am I gonna wear? Like what am I you know what I mean? Like those kind of decisions that like it fast tracked me to kind of just like solidify things about how I want to present myself. But other than that, I don't know what it's really done. Like I didn't go very far, obviously, so I can't really comment on that. But yeah, I got to do this other thing called the comeback stage, which was like a short-lived part of that thing where it was like it was like this online series, and that was amazing. I got to hang out in like this incredible studio in LA. Like John Mayer was recording in the next studio.
Okay.
And like yeah, and like I walked in
The
the
Sob
studio.
Rock tour
Yeah,
songs.
yeah. That's and I saw his guitars and stuff, and like they kicked me out of his studio, which is a great story.
Nice.
But
Did
I
you
don't
meet
know.
him?
I was so close. I was so close. Somebody walked in with an amp, and they thought I worked there, and they went, "Where's John Mayer?" Like I'm bringing this to John Mayer, and I was like, "Where is he?" And then they said where he was, and so I walked over with the guy, and then this lady, and I started to walk into the studio because I saw the guitars and all the pedals and stuff, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then they kicked me out, but
Nice.
I was close. I was close, but it was just the voice. It was just a fun experience. Have you ever done anything like that, or? Oh, you did. Yeah, you said you did.
One
You said-
time, 2012, I worked up the nerve to. This is when This must have been right after. This was literally the first time in my life where I'm ever performing publicly for anyone. It
Wow.
was 2012. And so, like, the spring of 2012, I went and played, like, my first open mic in this tiny little bar in
okay.
New Jersey.
I thought you were saying the first time was doing
Oh, no.
the
Well,
voice. I
it
was
was
like,
within
holy
a few
shit.
months. Like, I'd only played a couple open mics, and I was still super shy. Really into the Civil Wars at the time, so I sang a Civil War song. And that fall, they came through town, and so I went and stood, in line for 8 hours, and didn't make it past the first the first room, but it was a really good experience, and I can say I've done it, and I don't know, like looking back on that girl in 2012, like who I am today is so much different than who I was, and like if I had been sitting behind that table and watched me perform that 30 seconds or whatever, I wouldn't have put me through either. Like there wasn't really anything that stood out about me, And I didn't know who I was. There was nothing, like there was no, yeah. Anyways, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know, I hadn't found my voice yet even. The voice I was singing with was kind of odd. My song choice was probably a little odd for the show. The things I wore, my haircut, I thought I was so cool, but I don't know that I actually was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've thought about it, but I'm like, I don't know. Do I really want to? I don't know. But I've had several friends in the last couple of years all go through the show, and I'm like, well, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I think it can be kind of like dangerous in some ways, like
How so?
because like you do have to sort of pick what you do a little bit and like present it in like a big way. Like
Yeah.
yeah, and like sometimes that can go weird. Like I think probably it's really good to do those like 10 years down the line kind of. Like
Yeah.
okay, you've been doing shows and you have like fans now and it's like the whole thing. Like I think it's probably tough to like do really well on that show, like starting your career doing that. You know what I mean? Like
Some
you know how
people do, but like
yeah,
they've had a
yeah.
lot of training, or there's some kind of natural, like, not theatrical, but like comfort in presenting the music, like in the way they carry themselves. Because I've like watched, I don't follow the show, but I'll go and like watch like recaps on Facebook and stuff
Yeah.
sometimes, because it's just like it is fun to watch like the initial like chairs turning around and
Oh
everything,
yeah.
or like the surprise auditions and stuff where you're like, oh my gosh, that person has that voice. And you see like, especially like kids that carry themselves with such like, that was definitely not me as a kid. I was
Yeah.
too afraid to like make a sound in front of other people. So
There was a girl that was 13 that was unbelievable when I did it. Oh my God, it was ridiculous. She was 13 doing it. It was crazy.
yeah, just the voice. But I'm always in awe of how different person to person everybody's voice can be. It's so amazing. Because like after a while you would think that everybody would like kind of sound the same, but it's not true. Like, I mean, there's a slice of the population where there's a lot of similarities, but like voice like Yeba, or like
Yeah.
just these really distinct voices that are like, whoa, okay. Anyways, well, I just like to ask people who've been on The Voice, like, what you thought about being on The Voice.
Yeah.
I like to ask all of my guests, what is your earliest memory of being like caught by a song? Like where you just hear it and you're like, oh my gosh, I love this. What is this? I need this. I want more of this. Can you think of one of those moments, your earliest?
Yeah. I grew up with not a ton of music around. My parents aren't musicians or anything, and I remember the song "You're Just Too Good to Be True, Can't Take My Eyes Off of You." That song, I remember that played, and my mom had a box set of like that kind of music, and that was really cool. Like I remember that song, and that to this day, like I have a version of it that like I love that song, and I remember I was like, whoa, kind of, and it was weird though because it was like my parents didn't know anything about music, so it was like
Can't Take My Eyes Off of You? Is that the...
yeah, I Can't Take My Eyes Off of You.
Muse does a version.
Really?
Yes. Muse is like my favorite band, so I'm like,
Oh, okay, cool.
everyone's done a version of this song, but Muse
Oh,
did a
yeah.
version. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's
Yeah, it's a great
cool.
song.
I can imagine, what's his name, Matthew Bellamy? I can imagine him singing that.
Yeah, it was great.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, it's just, I remember that song, like, specifically.
No, that's great. What, and this is my last question before we move on to other things. What aspect of music, whether being a listener, a writer, a creator, producer, performer, teacher, what aspect in the cycle of music brings you the most joy?
Um, I really, I enjoy performing a lot, but I think, like, I kind of am trying to get my performances also into, like, less of, like, you're experiencing greatness, like, watch me be great, you know what I mean? And kind of like, I mean, more like, I guess, the folk festival mentality where it's kind of like, we're all experiencing this kind of together and we're
Right.
all one, you know? And I think that's like something I'm kind of gearing for more, you know? And I don't know. Although
The
I've
shared
really,
experience?
yeah, the shared experience of performance. And like, I think we're so geared as like a society sometimes that like, it's just like I said, like witnessing greatness. It's all about kind of like the performer getting up there and being like this amazing. I'm doing a lot of hand gestures, I'm realizing, but like the performer
That's
being this
great.
amazing thing. But I don't know. I like that aspect of it a lot. You know, like
Okay. I like that. I feel like most people that I have on the show that are musicians enjoy performing. But there are some people that have enjoyed other aspects, and I just think it's super interesting when someone identifies, I really love writing, coming up with a new song, or whatever it is. But
yeah,
I think a lot of us really enjoy performing. That's why we're still performing even in the pandemic.
yeah, true. What's yours? What's yours?
I really enjoy that kind of new song feeling. Like you hit on an idea and you start writing, you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be good. I can feel it. And then you finish it and you're like, yeah, this is good. And then like 2 weeks later, you still feel that way.
Ah, yeah,
Because like
yeah,
I crush on every song for like 2 weeks and then I'm like really over it. I'm like, yeah, it's not that great. But the ones that you like get stuck in your own head, and the ones that sometimes they fall and they come out of your brain in 30 minutes, and sometimes you got to work through them and revise them,
yeah,
But like, I love that new song feeling, that excitement of like, I just want to share it. I want to play this for everybody. I
yeah,
love that feeling. And I think that there is an aspect of, like, to me, it doesn't have to be like on a giant festival stage, although that is in my plans for my future. But like, sharing it with other people is really important to me too. So
yeah.
that song has life and it connects with other people. Yeah, so I would say those are some things that I enjoy the most.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good way of putting it too, like sharing it with other people, you know, rather than like performance. You know,
But I mean, like, it could just be performing it by yourself in your bedroom and then like playing the CD or playing the.
yeah,
I don't know why I
okay.
said CD first, but like playing it on speakers like you could DJ. Like you
Yeah,
don't have to be
that's it.
performing yourself. But I do. I used to think that I never wanted to perform, but I actually really do enjoy performing. But I think just above performing, I really love like creating that song. Like that
That's
process
cool.
is really life-giving and joyful for me.
Yeah, yeah, that is a cool feeling. Very unique feeling, kind of.
Yeah. Before I forget, let me drop Sam's links into.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I
I did
copied all
share
of
this.
them. I'm gonna drop. That's so weird. It's not letting me copy paste these links, so I'll drop them in one at a time, possibly. Oh, that's so weird. Huh. Well, I'm having the copy paste function isn't working on my computer, which is super strange. Give me a second. How do I guess I could remove the. What is when it's a live link, I can remove the, it's not letting me remove that either. It's so weird. Well, okay, I'll come back to that. I'll drop it in before
That's fine.
before we leave. Actually, you know what? I have it in the private chat. Let me try it from here. See if that works. Here are Sam's links if you like what you're hearing.
Oh, cool.
There we go. Okay. Yes. All right. So they're all dropped into the chat. So if you're watching, you should be able to, I believe they should be linked.
Jojo Lemon, so supportive.
Yes. Joanna, too bad you can't reboot. I actually can reboot. I will just disappear. Sam, could it be entertaining, y'all? So we can do that, but we got it to work. It's fine.
Yeah.
This is normal. Things happening in the middle of a show, whether it's an actual live in-person show or it's a digital show, things I've learned just always happen. So when you learn to roll with it, it's always a lot more fun.
True.
That's kind of the magic of a live show anyways, is what I've learned, is that the point is not to exactly replicate the album. The point is to give a live experience, a moment that you all have together, you and the audience. A moment that, while might be similar to other moments in time, it will never be completely repeated. And it's a moment of, I want to say magical. I don't believe in magic, but like a magical moment where like you're all tied together for however long you're playing, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour and a half. And you're all there experiencing the same thing together. And that exact thing will never happen again.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool way of putting it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
all right. You ready for the pop question?
Yes, yeah.
Have you ever written a strongly worded letter?
I haven't written many letters.
Okay. I guess email or text could also be a thing. Like a formal thing to a person, a strongly worded formal thing.
I mean, probably, but I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that one.
Okay. Oh, Sam mentioned that your links are also in the overview. I did put your links in the overview, so that is also true in the description of the video. All right.
Oh, cool.
Have you ever mooned someone?
No. I can give that one definitively. No, I have not.
I have also not. Have you ever walked into a glass door?
Yes.
Same.
This door behind me, I like I said, I'm at my parents' house as my home base. It's glass behind here, and I have definitely done that. In fact, I actually hit my head against the glass door today.
Wow.
I didn't walk into it, but I just sort of stuck my head up and I hit it today. So that was a good one.
Nice. Okay. I've walked straight into an open door, like the door was open, and I just
Oh my
turned
God.
around real quick and like, I don't know how you do that, but I did it.
What are the odds of that? Yeah.
They're very small, and I'm the exception.
Well, that's okay.
Joanna sent a strongly worded email message out. She said that's her work life. That's pretty funny. All right. Do you have a question for me?
Yeah. Well, this is kind of a mini question. Where are you from in Texas? This is just a mini question.
The Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Oh, okay.
I live in Austin.
I've only driven through Texas once, so I've never...
I mean, it's a long drive.
Yeah. I guess, so my question is, what is like one thing that you feel like musically you have gotten that's good from the pandemic? Or several things.
Musically.
Or I guess not even musically necessarily, but...
Well, I'll say a few things. I actually was going through some papers the other day. I can try and find it. I came across a list, what I've achieved in the pandemic. And I had to like write this list because I was so depressed last year. But I was like, I need to focus on the positive. Do you want me to try and find it? It's like right there. Hold on, one sec. Talk amongst yourselves.
Now it's just me and you, Joanna, Sam Stedman. I got to know Natalie a lot better, but that's very sweet. She said you've been at almost every one of these things. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's cool, you know, people that do that. That's really amazing. And us musicians, thank you. Thank you a lot.
I think it's in this stack of papers. Just gonna like look through it real quick. I was going through trying to like throw out a bunch of stuff and kind of like, I don't know, things get a little cluttery after a while because I love paper. Like I write songs on paper. I don't like to write them on like the computer. And so like I wrote down all of my, oh, these are all like lyrics. These aren't the right thing. That's fine. Like lyric ideas and stuff. I don't know. Well, I'll just pick 3 things because this is not the right pile. I would say one thing is becoming more comfortable talking to a stranger for an hour.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And I think that it has made me maybe a little more comfortable even on stage because I've gotten on stage in the last, 6 to 8 months. Not very often, but I'm more and more. And then I would say I spent some time covering someone else's music. And like I was trying to cover all the songs on one album. And I got like 7 or 8 out of 12. And that was really interesting because I learned some new tricks. Like I don't like I really hate the B chord, but he uses B a lot in his writing. And so I got more comfortable with it.
Who is this?
David Bazan.
That's funny, David Bazan. That my roommate in college, we definitely bonded over David Bazan. We would like listen to that all the time. That's funny. Cool.
Well, he put out a new record in, I guess, 2019 called Phoenix. And it's been a while since I've had something on repeat, and that happened in 2020, like before the lockdown. I just had it on repeat, and it was so refreshing to actually love something again. Like I hear a lot of music, and I don't have a lot that's ever on repeat, and there's so much music out there. It's like I don't have time to put things on repeat,
Yeah, I feel the same
unless
way.
you really, really love it. And so it was like the first time I came across something in a long time that I wanted to put on repeat. I wanted to spend the time listening to it again.
Yeah.
And so
I gotta get back into David Bazan.
So I recommend the Phoenix album. If you like his older stuff, I don't know his older stuff as well, but like I know the Phoenix album.
Huh.
So
Cool.
That was really cool. Spending that much time kind of doing a deep dive into an album and like kind of learning those tricks was really cool. And then also like learning how to use my computer and an interface. I'd never used an interface before lockdown. I'd never gone live before lockdown on any platform.
I hated that at first.
It was so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And like I've gone through 2 ring lights, 3 or 4 like phone holders.
Oh, really?
For live streams. So many different lighting arrangements. Currently my lighting is like a ring light and then these like LEDs up on my curtains that I bought these curtains for specifically to feel like a stage.
Oh yeah, cool.
You know?
It looks
like
better
these...
than these curtains, but yeah, it's a good set.
Like I said, your background is not bad at all. So, cool. I don't know. I think the communication part, like being comfortable, like I flub my words all the time. I just don't get as flustered. Like I'm just sort of, and even asking questions, like I used to really freak out about like what questions I'm going to ask. And then I'm like, well, now I have like 5 or 6, but I often will have like some come up on the fly. And I've learned like some of those questions are better than the ones I come up with in advance, So.
Yeah.
Joanna found you on Bandcamp.
Oh, cool.
She's going to check
awesome.
out
Appreciate it.
your work.
I hope you like it.
Cool. Well, anything else before we move on to more pop questions? My shimmery box.
I think I'm good.
Okay. Have you or I ever ridden a horse?
Yes, actually.
Cool. Same.
I had a brief time where I used to want to be really good at things when I was a kid, and I was like bad at like everything. And I decided I wanted to be a competitive horse racer for like 2 weeks. And my mom
that when,
actually
like Seabiscuit came out or whatever that movie was?
Maybe it might have been then. I was like 10. And my mom actually took me to a barn. I remember it was kind of a strange thing that I did, but I was like, that'd be kind of cool. And I decided it wasn't for me. But
Nice.
yeah.
Have you ever made a fool of yourself at a party?
Um,
I feel like surely I have.
yeah, I mean, definitely at some point. Going to parties it's been a while because COVID, and then horse racing is dangerous.
I went
Sorry,
to an event that I unintentionally became very intoxicated at, but everyone else was really intoxicated too. It wasn't like I was the only one, but I was caught off guard, and I was like, "Wow, that was not my intention."
Yeah.
And I was playing music too, and like I'd never been that intoxicated and tried to play music, and I was like, I generally like, because I don't drink before I perform usually.
Yeah, me too.
Or try not to, because I don't know, like I don't want to rely on it, but also I feel like my vocals are fairly sensitive, so I try and take care of them.
Yeah, I don't do that either. I like nothing before I play.
Anyways, I felt very foolish after that night, but it was fine. But like, I don't want to repeat that.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish that I had some kind of video evidence of it, because I'm like, what did I look and sound like, Yeah, because I knew how I sounded in here, and I was like, wow, this is hard to play. It's hard to remember what I played 5 minutes ago. We're doing a song swap,
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah,
I'm wondering, that's probably going to happen at Kerrville, now that you say that.
So all that to say, like if you're going to be a super late night thing involving guitars and campfires, like go easy. Drink lots of water.
Yeah, noted. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah.
Noted.
So anyways, that's my story. Are you ready to sing a song? Are you going to play a song for us? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And is it on your new album?
Yes. You want me to start it off here? Our little song
Yes.
swap?
While you do that, I'm going to tune my guitar and mute myself and also listen. Do you want to have the screen to yourself, or you want me to hang out with you?
I don't care. Whatever you want to do.
I'm going to give you the whole screen.
Okay. Hello. Oh, I cut myself shaving. That's that little mark there. So I have to tune here. This is a song on the album, and this was also one of the ones that I won Kerrville with. And it was the first single I released for the album, and it's a song that means a lot to me. Yeah, it's called Remind Me. I told myself not to fall in love, and I haven't yet. I'm still so young, there's so many people I just haven't met. So when I saw you, and you saw through the heart of me, I turned around and walked downtown and tried to see with objectivity. I didn't want to look too hard, I didn't want to see too far, I didn't want to know who you are, I didn't want to like it, I didn't want to say your name, standing on your fire escape, watching all the good stars fade, like the ghosts behind me. I told myself she's nothing new, just a pretty girl, a radiant light who always finds time to watch life unfurl. But when you kissed me and I had to leave, I wasn't lying. I'm thinking maybe I'm just good at searching, not finding.
wanna look too hard, I didn't wanna see too far, I didn't wanna know who you are, I didn't wanna like it, I didn't wanna say your name, standing on your fire escape, watching all the good stars fade, like the ghosts behind me. 'Cause you don't remind me of back home, you don't remind me of my own needs, you don't remind me of what I know of love, you remind me of what it means. You don't remind me of my mother, you don't remind me of my last girl, you just remind me maybe it's a big wide open world. I didn't wanna say your name, standing on your fire escape, watching all the good stars fade, like the ghosts behind me. And you don't remind me.
Yay.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful, and
Thank
Joanna
you.
agrees.
Thank you, Joanna. I appreciate that.
So does Sam. I think maybe it's the Sam you're thinking.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it. And
Also,
thanks, Jim.
David says hi. He's Firestorm Live.
Oh, cool. Hi, David. Is that on Twitch? Is that
It is. That is Twitch.
cool? I haven't really gotten into Twitch, but that's cool.
I'm struggling to get into Twitch. There's a hole. It's like a deep hole. I feel like I could easily fall into, but
Yeah.
I know people that basically it's a full-time job to like
Wow.
get into it.
Jump into the hole. Yeah.
David, I don't think I have the time to jump into the hole. Anyways, well, do you want to hang out with me on screen, or do you want to jump off
You
screen
can-
for a second?
You can have the whole thing, you know. You gave it to me.
All right, I'll pull you back up in a minute.
Cool.
This one is called "Give a Damn." I'm not your mother. I'm not your lover. I've got no built-in rights. I'm not your father. I'm not your doctor. But I can tell it's serious. Don't say you'll be there soon when you're in a hospital room. I love a good joke, but this one isn't funny. You've got a broken heart. You've got a fucking star. Letting your friends give a damn. Oh, because I'm a friend and I care about you, dear. I wish that you cared more about you too. 'Cause if you don't care, the battle is twice as hard. 'Cause I have to fight you and try to convince you that you're worth it. Ooh, ooh. I give a damn.
That was cool.
Thank you.
I like the part a lot. I like the guitar part a lot.
Oh, thank you.
That was cool. Those kind of like rolling picking things have always been hard for me to do. Right, like that. This sort of like, what is it?
Arpeggio.
Yeah, like. It's always been hard for me to do those. It's kind of cool.
My background, I started learning guitar as like classical guitar. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so all of the things we're picking.
Yeah. Do you have
Arpeggios
nails?
and-
Do you use your nails?
I have well, my fret nails are shorter than I just cut them too, but I keep them at least
see.
like a 1/4 inch. My thumbnails
Yeah.
I keep longer.
I'm going like that long now.
Yikes. How
This
do
is
you-
actually way too long. I need to cut these, but it's kind of disturbing.
Well, it makes sense. I just can't. If I have them much longer, my thumbnails they'll like crack, and break, and so I keep them like the most is like maybe a 1/3 of an inch, and then I gotta.
Yeah, I
It's
need
too
to.
like get
these,
caught on things,
Yeah, these need to go. But,
and also
yeah.
like typing on a phone is just really annoying. So, but these nails are just weak. Like I can't keep them very long. Like. They'll just break or shred or whatever. So, and I also use them. Do you use them as picks too, like when you're strumming, or do you use an actual pick?
Not really, because I actually have acrylic nails.
Oh, okay.
And it gets caught kind of. That was kind of a sad sacrifice I had to make when I got these like a few months ago. It gets caught when I do it with my hand, but so I just use a pick all the time.
Oh,
or
so
actually-
you don't wait. So why do you have your nails long if you use a pick?
Oh, like for like just like finger picking stuff, like I
Gotcha. But for strumming, you only use a pick.
yeah.
Gotcha.
But I have a thumb pick too, which is like the greatest thing of all time.
I gotta get comfortable with that. I have a couple of them, but I've never really like gotten into them. What song got you into using a thumb pick?
Can I play? Is it?
Go for it.
Well, because I only got into it like less than a year ago, and now I use it on like
Everything?
so many of the songs I play now. But do you know Tommy Emmanuel?
No.
He's just an amazing guitar player, but he has this version of Imagine that I was trying to learn. And my roommate had one of these lying around, and then I realized like because it gives you the both. It gives you like the best of both worlds because you can use your fingers and the pick, and you can use it as a regular pick too. It's really incredible. Like,
Cool. Well, I might have to like start experimenting with mine. That's one thing I did not pick up during the pandemic is a thumb pick.
yeah, I would try it. I mean, yeah, the whole nails thing and the thumb pick thing is definitely something I picked up. Looking at these on the camera.
How
But-
often do you have to replace them?
I'm still figuring out. Honestly, I've probably only had these for like 4 or 5 months. And I don't know. I probably get them like filled every like 3 weeks. I'm trying to learn how to do it myself. But yeah, I get them filled like every 3 weeks or so, and then I don't know. I don't know when I ripped some off.
Oof. That's what I'm afraid
Yeah,
of.
yeah, it was rough, but I don't know.
Because
Oh,
then
you
what
should-
do you do if it's right before a show?
Well,
you
I
know?
did it in a show.
Oh.
And thankfully, there was enough nail left that I could kind of use it, but it was rough. I mean, I had to go the next day. Like, it was terrible.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I may dip my toes over in the dark side of acrylic nails
It's
at
so
some point.
sick.
You are not the first person to tell me that I should try it. I am doing a fair amount of strumming these days, though. A lot of songs on this next album, wow, I'm bumping into my stand here. A lot of the songs in this next album are very strum driven, which is a little different for me. So I don't know. I'm still figuring out what I want to do, but noted. Another person has recommended acrylic nails.
Yes,
Cool.
I highly recommend them. So.
Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight, being on the show. Thank you everyone
Yeah.
for tuning in. I think someone else tuned in recently too. Jim. I thought someone else tuned in. I meant to give a shout out to. Thanks everyone for tuning in and joining us. And once again, you can find, maybe I still have all of his links. Here they are. You can find Sam at these links.
Cool.
And please give him a follow or a shout out. Catch him on a show when he's in town. It sounds like you're going to be at Kerrville, right?
Yes.
So if you're at Kerrville, check him out at Kerrville. And I hope everyone has a lovely evening and you all stay safe. And we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.